Now on BBC One, more teams compete for the title Masterteam 87.
Hello, well, I'm glad you could join us again. You know, we're only just now, 3 days into a brand new series here on Masterteam, and as we're going to be here for the next 9 weeks, it means that, there's an awful long time to go before we actually find the Masterteam for 1987, but who knows? One of the teams that's already sitting here in the studio with me may walk off with that title. They're certainly both going to give it their best shot, so let's meet the teams right away. First of all, the team that comes from Kent, and they are...
Hello, I'm Sue Brooks, and I'm a civil servant from Broadstairs.
I'm Jane Diver, I come from Margate and I'm a civil servant.
I'm Tricia Donovan, I come from Birchington and I too am a civil servant.
And collectively they call themselves Ron's Raiders from Kent. Ron's Raiders, in fact, are our first medal winners because yesterday they won 2 games in a row, which means that they've picked up the first of our bronze medals here on Masterteam. Ron, after whom they're named, incidentally, is the office pin-up. He's not with us because he's feeling a bit poorly at the moment, but I bet that right now he is lying prostrate on his sick bed and actually cheering his girls on to even bigger and better things. Be a lot of cheering up in Oldham too, I reckon, because they're a noisy lot up there. They'll be cheering on the team that's representing that part of the country. Let's meet them. They are...
I'm Alan Warman and I'm a hospital engineer.
I'm Stuart Swift and I'm a computer programmer.
And I'm Ken Pleasant, I'm a school teacher.
And collectively they are the old lads from Oldham. Now, Alan is the first of the walking wounded that we've ever had on this programme because he's you can't see it, but we're rolling him round on casters because he's sitting there with a broken foot encased in plaster. Alan, how did you do that?
I managed to put my foot down a hole at work.
At work, being in absolutely the right place, because you work in a hospital, don't you?
So wrong hospital, I'm afraid.
Why?
Because they had to take me by ambulance to the other hospital. There's no casualty department.
Well, that's not very clever, is it? Never mind, it's nice to have you with us, and not only with us, but Stuart, your teammate who's sitting next to you, has got a little memento for you, I think, of this programme and of the foot.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Right, well, we have the old lads from Oldham then playing Ron's Raiders from Kent. We start, as always, of course, with a round of team challenge where I ask the team members to put their fingers on the buzzers. Let's play. What is Fortran? Alan?
Computer language.
Correct. In which Italian city did Stradivari study and make his violins? Alan?
Siena.
No. Tricia?
Cremona.
Correct. What does the Sabin vaccine protect against? Alan?
Polio.
Correct. Which word, originally the name of the garden where Plato taught philosophy, is now used to describe any teaching establishment? Tricia?
Academy.
Correct. In the Anglican and Roman churches, what is the name of the Sunday following Whit Sunday? Stuart?
Trinity Sunday.
Correct. Who expressed the opinion in her book title that gentlemen prefer blondes? Tricia?
Anita Loos.
Correct. Who is the wife of cartoon character Andy Capp? Alan?
Florrie.
Correct. The highest mountain in South America, Aconcagua, is situated in which country? Alan?
Bolivia.
No. Sue?
Brazil.
Argentina. Who said in 1938 political power grows from the barrel of a gun? Alan?
Stalin.
No. Tricia?
Mussolini.
No, it was Mao Zedong. In the Royal Navy, what is the rank or title of the chief police officer on a man of war? Alan?
Sergeant at Arms.
No. Sue?
Person?
No, he's the master at arms. Who was the first British Christian martyr? Jane?
St Alban.
Correct. Interesting first round there. Let's take a look at the scoreline. Ron's Raiders from Kent have 7. The old lads from Oldham, one ahead with 8. Which takes us on to the first of our spotlight rounds, and because the old lads are in the lead at this point, it means that they can choose a member of Ron's Raiders to go into the spotlight. Who's it going to be, lads?
I'll pick Jane.
Jane, it's your choice in the spotlight from television, transport, food and drink, pop music, sport, the 1970s.
I'll have television, Angela, please.
Television is your spotlight subject. You've done this a couple of times now, Jane, so I think you know the rules. So if you're quite happy, your 1 minute in the spotlight starts now. Who says opportunity knocks?
Huey Green.
No, Bob Monkhouse. What were the names of Rhea and Ben's two sons in Butterflies?
Pass.
Russell and Adam. Who introduces popular hymns on Praise Be?
Thora Hird.
Correct. What was the name of the BBC One landscape and wildlife series filmed and presented by Simon King?
King's Country.
Correct. Who is the Skyrunner's anchorman in Treasure Hunt?
Pass.
Kenneth Kendall. In Emmerdale Farm, how were Matt Skilbeck and Annie Sugden related?
Mother-in-law and son-in-law.
Correct. In the 1963 series The Planemakers, who starred as John Wilder?
Patrick Wymark.
Correct. What subject does John Houseman teach in The Paper Chase?
Law.
Correct. Who portrayed the character Brond?
Pass.
Stratford Johns. Which philosopher presented The Ascent of Man?
Bronowski.
Correct. What is the name of the fictional antique shop in Victoria Wood as seen on TV?
Acorn Antiques.
Correct. Which television and radio... It's still yours. Which television and radio personality has a daughter who is a presenter on Blue Peter?
Gloria Hunniford.
Correct. Her daughter is Karen Keating. Jane, at the end of that round in the spotlight, you've scored 16 points, so your team now has a total of 23. As yesterday, Jane is glad to get that out of the way. Now, Kent, would you like to choose a member of the old lads, please?
Stuart, please, Angela.
Stuart, your choice from transport, food and drink, pop music, sport, or the 1970s, please.
I'll try transport.
Okay. With the rules as before, so Stuart, if you are ready to go it alone for 1 minute on transport, your time starts now. Why should drivers be grateful to Percy Shaw?
Cat's eyes.
Correct. Idlewild Airport is now known by what name?
John F. Kennedy.
Correct. Where was the liner Queen Elizabeth destroyed by fire?
Hong Kong.
Correct. Which is the only bascule bridge across the Thames in London?
Tower Bridge.
Correct. Used in air navigation, what does ILS stand for?
Pass.
Instrument landing system. Coventry Climax made successful racing car engines in the 50s and 60s, but what other form of transport was their main business at that time?
Forklift trucks.
Correct. What is the longest lived and most widely used passenger and transport aircraft of all time?
Dakota.
Correct. What nationality was Rudolf Diesel, who invented the diesel engine in 1892?
German.
Correct. What was the name of George Stephenson's first locomotive?
Locomotion number 1.
No, it was Blucher. Which of Brunel's ships laid the first successful transatlantic cable?
Great Eastern.
Correct. In what did 3 Americans cross the Atlantic for the first time in 1978?
Hot air balloon.
Correct. They did indeed. Stuart, at the end of that round, you have scored 18 points in the spotlight. Your team now has a total of 26. High-scoring game with another 5 bonus points sitting in the balance now as we come to the round where we put our teams in a spin, because we're going to spin the letters and ask them and you at home to make the longest word possible out of the 3 letters that appear on the board behind our teams. You know the rules, team, so let's spin the letters. C is the first letter of the sequence and must be the first letter of your word, followed by N and I in that order. Your time begins now. Your time is up, teams. Will you put your pencils down, please? And first of all, Kent, how many letters are there in your word, please?
14.
Thank you. Oldham, how many letters have you in your word, please?
15.
15. Kent, may I have your word and would you spell it, please?
Conflagrations. CONFLAGRATIONS.
Thank you very much. Oldham, your word and spell it, please.
Chronologically. CHRONOLOGICALLY.
Thank you. Well, our computer came up with CNI. Our teams came up with conflagrations, which has 14 letters. That was from Kent. And chronologically, with 15 letters, from Oldham. Both words accurate, properly spelt and acceptable to our lexicographer, which means that it's the 15 letters in chronologically that gets 5 bonus points for Oldham. So their scoreline now reads 31. And we return to the spotlight board, and this time it's Kent who get first choice, but from only Alan or Ken to go into the spotlight for Oldham. Who's it going to be, ladies?
Ken, please, Angela.
Ken, would you like to choose from food and drink, pop music, sport, or the 1970s?
I'll try sport, please, Angela.
Sport to be your spotlight subject, Ken, which means you have 1 minute on that subject, and your time starts now. In golf, how many strokes under par is an albatross?
3.
Correct. What in kilograms is the weight of a men's discus?
7.
2. Which athlete set 17 world records at distance running but never won an Olympic gold?
Ron Clark.
Correct. Who won the Brazilian Grand Prix, the first of this year's Formula One races?
Nelson Piquet.
Alain Prost. Which football side was the first to achieve a hat-trick of First Division championships?
Liverpool.
Huddersfield Town in 1924. On which racecourse is the Melling Road?
Pass.
Aintree. Which was the last cricketing county to achieve first-class status?
Somerset.
Glamorgan. With which sport do you associate Rob Roys, Kleppers and Scouts?
Grouse shooting.
No, canoeing. Which make of car has won the last 7 Le Mans 24-hour races?
Ferrari.
Porsche. Which country won this year's Rugby Union 5 Nations Championship?
Wales.
It was France. Who was... It is still yours. Who was Bjorn Borg's coach and mentor?
Sorry,
It was Lennart Bergelin. Ken, at the end of that round in the spotlight, you have scored 4 points, which means that your team total has now gone up to 35. Now, lads, on the Ron's Raiders team, you can put either Sue or Tricia into the spotlight.
We'll choose Tricia.
Tricia, only 3 subjects left. They are food and drink, pop music, or the 1970s.
I'll try food and drink, please, Angela.
Okay, food and drink, your subject for 1 minute. And if you're ready, your time starts now. Upon which meal did Mrs. Beeton declare that the moral and physical welfare of mankind depends?
Roast beef.
Breakfast. Which fruit flavours the liqueur Curacao?
Lemons.
Oranges. In Indian cookery, what is the main ingredient of dal? D-A-H-L.
Some kind of grain.
No, they're pulses, lentils particularly. Dating from the 15th century, a posset was a remedy for colds consisting of ale or sherry curdled with what?
Milk.
Correct. What jelly provides the main ingredient of Cumberland sauce?
Mint jelly.
Red currant. Why was a wartime dish called Woolton pie?
Walton pie.
Woolton, W-W-O-L-T-O-N.
After a member of Parliament who suggested everyone eat it.
Yes, it was in fact the Minister of Food. Correct. What is the principal vegetable ingredient of moussaka?
Aubergines.
Correct. On which island is Marsala wine? It's still yours. On which island is Marsala wine traditionally produced?
Sicily.
Correct. At the end of that round, Tricia, you have scored 8 points in the spotlight, so your team total now goes up to 31. So with just 4 points separating the teams, as Ron's Raiders have 31, the old lads from Oldham have 35, we go into the final team challenge round. So teams, everything to play for with your fingers on the buzzers. Let's play. What musical instrument do you associate with Buddy Rich, Keith Moon and Ginger... Alan?
Drums.
Correct. Which emblem is embossed on the reverse of the Welsh £1 coin? Tricia?
A leek.
Correct. Who wrote Puckoon and Adolf Hitler? Sue?
Spike Milligan.
Correct. Which hydrocarbon used as a fuel has the chemical formula C3H8? Too late, it's propane. How old was Picasso when he died in 1973? Alan?
88.
No. Tricia?
83.
No, he was 91. On which Channel Island can you visit Fort Regent and Elizabeth? Alan.
Jersey.
Correct. In Greek mythology, how many Titans were there? Tricia.
100.
No. Ken?
7.
12. What is the county town of Suffolk? Stuart.
Ipswich.
Correct. Ipswich it is. Let's take a look at the score lines. Ron's Raiders from Kent have 35. The Old Lads from Oldham have 41. Well, that means that as the Old Lads from Oldham are the winners, they stay with us. Ron's Raiders from Kent, I'm afraid, didn't quite make it 3 in a row to a silver medal, but they did win 2 games in a row, so they are the first medalists of this new season of Master Team. They are bronze medalists with an accumulative score of 79 points, which means that they go up onto our leaderboard. So their name and their score stays with us, but I'm afraid the team has to leave us. Ladies, it was a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you very much indeed. Bye-bye. So let's welcome the new trio who've come to play Master Team. They are...
I'm David, and I'm a law student hoping one day to become a solicitor.
I'm Caroline Foster, and I am a solicitor.
I am Alan Stevens. I am an insurance manager in industry.
And they play as a team called the Farnham Hoofers from Surrey. First time we've had our very own chorus line on the programme. We're going to begin a whole new game now with Team Challenge, as always, round 1. So teams, if you are ready with your fingers on the buzzers, let's play. What is the native country of Michael Bond's Paddington Bear? Alan.
Peru.
Correct. Who was installed as Roman Catholic Archbishop of Westminster in 19... Caroline.
Basil Hume.
Correct. What is the non-technical English name for sodium hydroxide? Stuart?
Caustic soda.
Correct. Which American humorist created the character Walter Mitty? David?
James Thurber.
Correct. Which great archaeological discovery was made near Woodbridge, Suffolk in 1939? Caroline?
Sutton Hoo Ship.
Correct. How is the North of England Zoological Society better known? Too late, it's Chester Zoo. The Rock of Gibraltar is formed predominantly of which type of rock? Stuart?
Granite.
No. Alan?
Igneous?
No, it's limestone. Who is the umpire on the Radio 4 game Trivia Test Match? David?
Nigel Rees.
No. Stuart?
Brian Johnson.
Correct. Which of this country's financial institutions was founded in 1694? Ken?
Bank of England.
Correct. Well, Ken was so quick on the buzzer there. Let me tell you what the end of that question was, which is this country's financial institutions was founded in 1694, mainly as a result of the efforts of William Paterson, but Ken didn't need to know all of that to tell us that it was indeed the Bank of England. The score at the end of that first round of Team Challenge is that the Hoofers from Surrey have 6, the Old Lads have 7. Which means that going into the first of our spotlight rounds, it's the lads who get first choice from the Hoofers. So, lads, who are you going to choose?
Who will choose David?
David, you're in the spotlight with classical music, food and drink, history, television, current affairs, and the 1960s up on the board. What are you going to choose?
I'll choose television, please.
Television is your spotlight subject for 1 minute. So if you are happy, your time starts now. Which programme featured a cuddly toy and a conveyor belt?
Pass.
The Generation Game. What is the name of the Nerys Hughes character in The District Nurse?
Pass.
Megan Roberts. Who is Janice Long's brother and Maggie Philbin's husband?
Keith Chegwin.
Correct. What is the surname of Ronnie Corbett's family in Sorry?
Lumsden.
Correct. Which blind investigator was played by James Franciscus?
Ironside.
Longstreet. Lily was the dramatised life story of Lily Langtry, who took the title role.
Pass.
Francesca Annis. The signature tune of which comedy series is based on the chimes of Big Ben?
Pass.
Yes, Minister, yes, Prime Minister. Who presents Brass Tacks?
Pass.
John Harrison. From which planet did the Daleks come?
Pass.
Scarrow. Who was the hot chestnut man on BBC television in the 1950s?
Pass.
Johnny Morris. Which soap opera character left for Portugal with Bill Gregory in 1984?
Pass.
Elsie Tanner. Sir John Betjeman's It's Still Yours. Sir John Betjeman's affectionate history of London's Metropolitan Railway, shown in 1973, was called what?
Metroland.
It was, David. Metroland is correct, which means at the end of that round you've scored 6 points in the spotlight, so your team total is now 12. Hoofers, there are 3 of the lads to choose from. Which one are you going to put in the spotlight?
We'll have Ken, please.
You could hear what I could hear. Ken is actually going into the spotlight for the lads. So, Ken, you have got classical music, food and drink, history, current affairs, and the 1960s up on the board.
I'll try history, please.
History to be your subject for 1 minute in the spotlight. So if you are happy, Ken, your minute starts. Now, which English king died in 1547?
Henry VIII.
Correct. What was the name of the treaty signed in 1783 which formally recognized American independence?
Treaty of Yorktown.
Of Paris, which Jewish statesman born in Russia was the first president of Israel?
David Ben-Gurion.
No, it's Chaim Weizmann. In which year did Queen Victoria succeed to the throne?
1837.
Correct. In the 15th century, during which war did the Battle of the Herrings take place?
100 Years' War.
Correct. In 1862, paper money called legal tenders was introduced into the United States of America. By what more popular name were the notes known?
Dollar bills.
Greenbacks. How was Prime Minister Henry Pelham related to his successor, the Duke of Newcastle?
Brother-in-law.
No, they were brothers. According to Lord Rochester, who never said a foolish thing, nor ever did a wise one?
Pass.
King Charles II. At the beginning of the Crimean War, which 2 countries formed an alliance? It's still yours. At the beginning of the Crimean War, which 2 countries formed an alliance with Britain against Russia?
France and Austria.
No, it was France and Turkey, Ken. At the end of that round on history, you have scored 6 points in the spotlight, and your team total is now 13. With 1 point in it, we're offering 5 bonus points to the team that can come up with the longest word made from the 3 letters that we're going to put on the board behind them. The teams are ready with pencils poised. Our computer is also ready, so let's spin the letters. H is the first letter of the inner spin sequence, with B and S to follow. Your 30 seconds starts now. Your time is up, team, so will you put your pencils down, please? And first of all, Hoofers, how many letters do you have in your word?
14.
Thank you. Oldham, how many in your word, please?
12.
Caroline, for the Hoofers, will you give me your word and spell it, please?
Honourableness. Honourableness.
Thank you. The lads, your word and spell it, please.
It's herringbones. I think it's 2 words, actually. Herringbones.
Thank you. The 3 inner spin letters, HBS. Quite a difficult combination, I think. It produced 14 letters in honourableness from the Hoofers, 12 letters in herringbones from the old lads. And I think you heard Stuart say, I think it's got a hyphen in it. Indeed, Stuart, it does have a hyphen in it. So not only does it have 2 letters less than the word from the Hoofers, we couldn't accept it anyway because hyphenated words aren't allowed in this game. So 14 letters and honourableness pick up the 5 bonus points, which means that the Hoofers line now reads 17. Well, a day of changing fortunes and changing leaders. Who only knows what's going to happen tomorrow? You'll have to come back and find out, won't you? We'll be joined, of course, by the Hoofers from Farnham and the old lads from Oldham. And you as well, I hope so. Join us again tomorrow when we play Masterteam once again. Till then, bye-bye.